and welcome to Craft with Sarah and another free SVG in my year-long flower pot series. All throughout 2025, I've been releasing regular flower pot designs for a wide range of themes, including birthday, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, weddings, new baby, graduation, Mardi Gras. I think there's been some more along the way as well. Easter was another one. Today is the turn of back to school. So we've got lots of school subjects there in the flower pot, as well as some pretty daisies and little yellow flowers. And then the flower pot says good luck, but you could remove those layers if you want it to say something else. You could maybe add a name on there, or maybe the grade that your child is going into, or something like that. I've put this in a shadow box, but it would also work really nicely shrunk down to go in a scrapbook page. For instance, if you were making a scrapbook page with some photos of your child in their school uniform for the first day of school or something like that. Or wish your child a welcome back to school with a greetings card. So for this one, I've changed up the colours a little bit and added a welcome back to school message that I found in Cricut Access, but it just shows that you can cut this a lot smaller. This is a 5x7 inch card and it still looks absolutely lovely. Here's how to find the free SVG to make this back to school paper craft. Let's get started. You can find the free files to make this project at craftwithsarah.com/free-SVGs. Or click the link in the description of this video to go to the tutorial where you can download straight from that page. You'll need to register a free account on my website in order to download any of the designs. The download comes in a zip folder. Before you can get the files into your cutting machine software, you'll need to unzip that folder. Visit craftwithsarah.com/help for instructions on how to do that, as well as a wide range of other tutorials on how to use your Cricut, Silhouette, or Scan and Cut machine. Once you've downloaded and unzipped the folder, it's time to get the SVG file into Cricut Design Space. Open up Design Space and start a new project, then press Upload over on the left, and then Upload Image. You can then either click Browse to find the files on your computer, or drag and drop them in. Make sure you choose the unzipped version of the download folder, and within there, if you're using Cricut Design Space, it's nice and easy, you want the 01 Cricut version subfolder. If you're using a Silhouette or a Scan and Cut machine, head to craftwithsarah.com/help, choose your type of machine from the list on the screen, and then there are separate videos in there on how to select the correct file for your machine. But I'll look in the 01 Cricut version, there should be one file in here and it starts SVG-01 in the file name. Click and drag that in and it looks like this. Press Continue. And then there's no need to change anything on this screen, just press Upload. Then the design will be loaded onto your canvas. You can close this window by clicking the arrow that appears halfway down the page. The design loads in at 6 inches tall, which is a lovely size to cut, but you can resize it if you want to. To resize, make sure the padlock icon above the width and the height box is closed. If yours is open, click it to close it. You can then type either the width or the height, press enter on your keyboard, and the other measurement will change in proportion. If you want to make any customizations, such as changing the colours or removing some of the layers, for example, you might want to take off the good luck, then you can do that by opening up the layers by clicking the arrow next to them in the layers panel. To remove a layer, click it to select just that one layer, and then you can either click the trash can icon at the top to delete it completely, or hover over it in the layers panel and click the eye icon to hide it from view. That way, if you change your mind, you can easily put it back on. To change the colour of any layers, again click it to select just that one you want to change, and then in the colour box along the top, you can change it to whatever you want. For example, I could make it the blue of the pencil. If you're making a greetings card or a shadow box, it's a nice idea to add some extra details in Design Space so that you can make sure your design will perfectly fit in the frame, and so will any other layers that you want to cut out. For instructions on how to do that, head to craftwithsarah.com/help. Choose your type of cutting machine, Cricut, Silhouette, or Scan and Cut from the list on the screen, and within there are separate videos on how to make shadow box backgrounds and how to make greetings cards. Let's take a look at some examples. Here's my back to school flower pot sized to go in a shadow box frame. I measured my frame to make the square around the edge. I'm not actually going to be cutting it in lime green. I've just put it in a really bold, obvious colour to remind myself when I'm going through the cut process that I want this to be cut from patterned paper rather than an actual colour of cardstock. I kept my background nice and simple with a few squares of card, and as I said, this one will be patterned to give it a little bit more detail, but I wanted the focus to really be on the flower pot. Here's my greetings card design, and this is a 5x7" card. So my flower pot as a whole is going to cut at about 4.9 inches tall and just under 4 inches wide. I changed up some of the colours to add more yellow, and I'm going to cut this from a darker yellow to give kind of yellow school bus vibes. For this one, I deleted the good luck message on the flower pot, and I've used this welcome back to school image instead that I found in Cricut Access. When you're happy with how your design is looking in Design Space, press Make over on the top right to start the cut process. That will separate out all the colours for you. You can change the paper size in the drop down here. And then you can click and drag to move things around to take up less space on your cardstock. Just make sure when you're moving things that nothing overlaps, otherwise it won't cut out properly. You'll need to repeat those steps for all of the different colours. When you're happy with how everything's looking, press Continue to connect to your Cricut, then follow the on-screen instructions to get everything cut out from cardstock. If you're new to cutting cardstock with your cutting machine, again, head to craftwithsarah.com/help for full step-by-step video walkthroughs. Here are all of the layers of my back to school flower pot cut out, and I've laid them all one on top of each other following the assembly guide that's included in your download folder. Putting them all into position before you start sticking means you can make sure you're definitely happy with all of the colours and that you haven't lost any of the little pieces along the way. We'll be sticking this together with a combination of glue and foam squares. The glue I'm using is Barely Art glue, but I also like halal. The reason I like these two glues is they don't bend or wrinkle the cardstock like other glues can do. The foam squares I'm using are from Dot and Dab, but any will do. If yours are big, you may need to cut them smaller to fit into some of the smaller pieces. As with all my layered designs, we'll start at the bottom and work upwards. So I'm going to move these away now so I can get to the bottom, but try and keep all the bits vaguely in position, seeing as I've gone to the effort to get them all in the right order. So I'll move them apart in little sections so that I don't lose all that work. And then we're left with the two green pieces, which are the bottom two bits. The lighter one goes on top, and this one will be stuck on with foam squares. Let's turn that over and add the foam squares to the back. Try and get a little bit of foam in all the sticky out areas, both around the edge and these bits at the top. And then I'm going to work my way around the edge of the flower pot as well. I've got all my pieces around the edge now, as well as into the sticky out areas, but I also need to add some foam squares into this big section here. If you were to leave it without any foam squares, you'll find that it dips down under the weight of everything we'll be putting on top, so you won't get a nice level three-dimensional appearance. I'm going to go through and add a good amount of my foam squares into the middle of this section as well. Like that. And now I've done that, I can peel the tops off of all of those foam squares to reveal the stickiness underneath. My foam squares are now all nice and sticky, so let's get this into place. I'm going to line it up and then gently drop down. This one's a little tricky to place because of all the sticky out flowers. By gently dropping down, it means if you're not happy with the positioning, you can pick it up and move it again because nothing's actually stuck yet. I find it hard to talk when I'm concentrating. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'm going to push down to stick. Next, you can either make up the flower pot with all of the back to school details in there, or you can work through the flowers. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to do the flowers first to get those out the way. So first up, we've got this one over here on the left, which is made up of these two pieces. Biggest one first, done with foam squares. And then the smaller bit, also with foam squares. And then the same for this one. Two pieces that make up this flower, both stuck on with foam squares. For the two daisies at the top, again, they're 2 layers each, one white flower and then one yellow for the middle. And I'm going to do both of these again with foam squares. There's my flowers done. Now we can move on to the details in the flower pot. We'll start with this piece, which will be stuck on with foam squares. Next up is the outline for the book, this piece, which is a glue layer. Then we're going to start building up some layers of the pencil at the back. We've got this piece first, which will be glued on. Then the brown piece on top, also glued. Next up is this white piece, which will go on here. And this one, you can kind of choose whether to glue or foam square it, depending on how much depth you want. But I think it looks a little bit better if you use foam squares. Oops, before I stick that on, I've just realised I've missed something. I've managed to throw that out of the way. Okay, I'm going to take my foam square off of the back of that potion. We've got this little potion bottle bit here. And add some glue to the back of the shape on here. I've managed to push that just out of my line of sight, so I missed it. And then glue that to the back. I need to move that as well. And that's the wrong way round. There. And a couple more foam squares back in place. Alright, so that's filled in there. I've done a really bad job of gluing that on straight. That's better. Right. If you're following along with the assembly guide, you'll have noticed that I was about to do that wrong. There we go. And then the next layer is the outline of the potion bottle to be glued on. And then the top of the pencil to be glued. And we're still gluing now for this brown piece. And then a little foam square. You might need to cut yours smaller, or you could glue it for the leaf on the apple. Then next up, the yellow flower pot. Gluing that on, and then glue on the red of the apple. Like that. Then we've got the rim of the flower pot to go on with foam squares. And then the little flowers for the edges, they are made up with a yellow bottom bit and then white on top. And the yellow bits will be done with foam squares. And I've just realised I've stuck this bit on really badly. Give it another go. Sometimes it's hard with the filming because my arms are reached quite outstretched quite a lot, so it's a little hard to see because it's very far from my face. But it's okay, it's fixed now. I'll put these light yellow bits on. There, and then glue the whites on top. If you're doing it like I'm doing and adding the glue directly to the design, make sure you don't put any in the middle of the flowers because that's the part that you'll see poking through of the yellow. There. And then for the good luck, that's 2 pieces. I'm going to foam square on the white. Put it roughly in the middle, and then glue on the yellow good luck. We got that about. I must have touched up against it. I think the glue's dry. No, not quite. Alright. Good job, I noticed. Nick of time. I'm making a lot of mistakes today. But they've all been resolved, so nothing really bad. I've not had to recut anything. It's all good. And there is my good luck back to school flower pot all ready to go in my frame. There's loads of layers in this one, so it's got lots of depth in it. And there we go. It's looking really nice, but let's see what it looks like in the frame. And here it is in the frame. I found this cute bit of paper in my craft stash. You can't really tell, I should have left more of the paper visible, but it says like E is for egg and O is for owl and things, which is really nice and fits with that back to school theme. Please don't ask me where I got that paper because it was in a great big pile of things I got from a family friend years and years and years ago when she was clearing out her craft room, so no idea where it's from, but it fits quite nicely with the theme of the flower pot. So there he is, looking lovely. And I've also made a matching greetings card, which is this one, the one from the screen you saw at the beginning. So slightly different colours this time. I've gone for more of that yellow vibe, and I've used darker yellows on this one to try and kind of do a school bus yellow theme on that one with that darker yellow. And then my welcome back to school that I found in Cricut Access. For this one, as it's a card, I didn't want it to be so thick, so I've only used 1 layer of foam squares on this one, which was for the daisy flowers and the rim of the flower pot. And then, because my welcome back to school was half on top of the flower pot and half on my white, I glued the parts that touch the flower pot and used foam squares on the bits that touch the white, just because there's so many bits of card in the flower pot that otherwise it wouldn't have looked level. So by doing a little cheeky bit of glue there and foam squares there, it means it's all looking great. And even though this is cut small to go on a 5x7 inch card, the Cricut's done an amazing job at all those teeny tiny pieces. So there we go, our back to school flower pot is all finished. I hope you've enjoyed crafting along with me. If you have, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and free SVGs. If you've got any ideas for future themed flower pots, please leave me a comment on the video to let me know. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Bye!